dude, bringing something to life is the fucking coolest thing ever. Like thinking of something. I wish I had a video of like the first time that I had made like a Mint Factory shirt. We made it and then we were just like jumping around. We are like, this is the craziest shit ever. Like this is insane. But it was I literally was like telling him, I'm like, dude, I'm like almost in tears right now. Like I've been thinking of this shirt, like picturing it in my head for like years. And I finally made it. And I was like, dude, this is addicting. I don't have a kid, but like it's almost like having 1,000 kids. Like you get that same feeling of like you make something. Like a kid is something you make. So it's like I couldn't imagine what having a kid is like. I'll knock on wood, but
You're
like
like, oh shit, I made this kid. Like,
yeah, it's like let's make 1,000 more.
Riding around town with the windows tinted. Oh shit, is that G in it? I ain't even know.
you're watching Loud Music Only. I'm your host, A.T Bianco, and today I'm very excited to introduce our guest who has one of the smoothest flows on this side of the Mississippi. The man can sing, he can rap, and his name is GRiFF, straight up out of Austin, Texas. GRiFF, thanks for joining us today. How are you, man?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm doing well, just living in my room, recording an interview, doing what I love. I can't complain.
Let's go, baby.
Yeah, so it's been a long time coming for us to sit down and actually speak about your music and
Yeah,
get down to do an interview, man. We've been talking for a while. It's been a pleasure just getting to know your music, getting to know you a little bit, and I'm excited to do that as well today. So I'm gonna start with how I first heard your music. I first heard your music just mindlessly scrolling through that magical app called TikTok,
yeah,
which
yeah.
is which is pretty nuts that I could be scrolling on that shit at 2 a.m. and I can come across a random artist from Austin, Texas, who is trying to tease their new song, Tinted Windows. So that was a pretty smooth song. Put a lot of my friends onto it, and I've been, promoting it a little bit just because of that shit is the smoothest song I've heard in a while, and I just want to pick your brain on the creation of that song. Why you made it, where you made it, and how that was for you.
Dude, for that one, I was listening to a lot of old Jack Harlow, oddly,
Okay.
which you can kind of hear. I was listening to the Confetti album, like his older stuff, and he was kind of on that same wave of just like I don't know. I was just riding in the car one day, oddly enough. I was going to visit my parents. I just was listening to the beat and I just came up with it, but I couldn't record it. Usually I'm like very like if I think of something, I have to record it then and there. But I was going to visit my parents, so I couldn't record it. So I recorded on Snapchat, oddly enough. I do that with all my stuff. And I just rap like whatever comes to mind. I don't even think I rapped exactly like what I did. Like I tuned it up a little bit and changed a little bit of stuff, but the flow was really what I was looking for. So when I came up with that flow, I was like, oh, I gotta do this. But I didn't think it was like I just make so much stuff that I kind of just like make it and then go on to the next. And I made that one and I sent it to the dude who mixes my stuff. He's like, dude, this one's it. This one's it. I'm like, really? Like I didn't even realize. Like I was on to the next like 10 songs that I already made. He was like, bro, Tinted Windows is it, bro. Like you gotta put that out. And so I was like, yeah. And at the time, I really didn't even have like an idea for an album. Like I never was really thinking of like, oh, I'm gonna make an album. I'm gonna make an album. It just kind of happened. But yeah, I made that one, and then that was kind of like the pre. Like I once we made that, and then we made a couple more, and I was like, we got some hits on this fella. Like we might as well put these things out.
Nah, for real. And that's like a good example of capitalizing on some momentum. And that's all organic momentum. Like you dropped a song, it spoke to the masses. Okay, so how can we, capitalize this and kind of continue to drop more music while people are really engaged? So that's like great to hear that story in itself.
Yeah, dude. It was the first time where I had found like I mean everyone's trying to find their own sound, but something happened, dude, during this album where because I had made a bunch of songs that I probably made like hundreds of songs that I'll never put out. And they were cool songs, but they just weren't like they weren't hitting how I wanted them to. Like they were
Mhm.
just fun to make. And then it was around like Tinted Windows when I started making that. I was like, I'm in a pocket right now where it feels good.
Yeah, okay, 832 came down with 5 bitches. Just linked up with Zoe, he eyewitness.
I want to get to know you and GRiFF and your upbringing and some of your more of your musical inspirations that influence the flow, the lyrics, and everything. So let's start with growing up in Texas and whether or not you played sports. What do you do in your younger time, and how that transition into wanting to do music?
Younger time was a lot of sports. I grew up with two brothers too. So we were always goofing around, just playing random sports. Um, Basketball, football, baseball, track, soccer, whatever you could think of. We did karate when we were young. Like we just did random stuff. We had our dad was he was in a band. He still plays, like he still plays to this day, but he's very musical. Like he can play the guitar. My older brother can play the guitar, and we kind of had like a growing up in our house, we had like it was used to be an office space, but my dad just threw all of his instruments in there. So we called it the music room, and so we had the drum set in there, and I was a huge drummer. Like I loved drumming. And I did it in like in middle school, you had to pick. It was either like theater, choir, or like band. And my older brother was in band and he did drums as well. And so you had to buy like these, you had to pay for these kits and stuff. And so my parents were like, just do drums because like then we don't gotta pay for another kit. Like, done with the drum stuff. So like just do drums, it'll save us money. So I was like, yeah, okay. Come some of my buddies were doing drums and stuff like that. So we just did that. And like, I mean, looking back on it now, it definitely helped, like with rhythm and like just finding pockets and how it's just it was like a huge thing. And even just like my dad growing up, he was in a band and he's 69 now, so like he's not traveling around doing stuff. And he was never like it was never a full-time gig for him. It was always like he just really liked music. So he was in like a it's a Jimmy Buffett cover band.
Oh, that's hard.
But they were cool, dude. Like, and I grew up around it. And so like I have pictures of when I was like tiny little kid. Like there's a picture of like me and my younger or my older brother, and we got like blow up guitars, and we're probably like I was probably maybe like 4 or 5, and we would there's like pictures of us on stage like with my dad's band, and we're like air playing the guitar, and so it was just like I was always around music, so I never really like I never really thought I would make music, like to be honest. And so I always loved music and I always would like sit there and play the drums like with my headphones on and stuff. But for the most part, I never thought that I was like actually gonna get into music. I just really liked music. But I always thought I was a sports guy. I thought I was gonna go to like the NFL or something. But that stuff happens, man, and that doesn't work. And like oddly enough, this was like kind of the question you're gonna go into, but like the way I got into music was kind of through sports not working out. I was playing I was playing Division 1 football somewhere, and it was like COVID was happening, all this stuff was happening, and football was like my thing. And I thought I was gonna go to the league like everyone does, but like it's just stuff didn't work out, and I was just kind of like sitting at home like with during COVID because we had nothing to do. And so one of my best friends, we would always sit there and freestyle to YouTube beats, like just for fun. Like we never thought we would actually make it, like doing music. And we were just freestyling. And then one day he called me and was like, "Bro, listen to this thing. Like I recorded something." And I was like, "You recorded? Like you actually recorded something?" And it was like some BS. Like looking back on it now, we were like, "Oh, that's crazy." But like looking back on it now, he was just freestyling some random stuff. But he was like, "Dude, you gotta try it. You gotta try it." And I was like, "Okay, man. I'll like if I ever come visit, I'll try it." And the dude who recorded him, is now the dude who helps me with like mixing and everything. He records me sometimes too. He lives in Austin. And he's the one who put both of them like put me on to like beat making because I wanted to do it, but it was like I just didn't know how. So they showed me like the ins and outs of that. But yeah, I just started recording and I was like, that is kind of fun. Like it's super nerve-wracking, but like standing in front of like people and getting on the mic for the first time is just like very nerve-wracking.
It's a vulnerable space to
It's
be
very
in.
vulnerable. Like, and you don't know that. Like, you don't know that at all when you first get into it. Cause I was always just goofing around, like you just say like random stuff. But then when you lock it, we had a closet, so you lock yourself in the closet, man. And no one can see you, but it's just you and the microphone. But they can all hear you out in the room. And I was like, damn, I was shaking. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I was like actually kind of nervous.
What did
But
it feel like? What did it feel like when you first heard your voice through a microphone? Like, what was that?
I did not like it.
Really, really. So it took you a while
Oh,
to really find your voice or just get comfortable with your voice on the mic.
it sounds very cliche, like everyone says it, but like when I first started, because at the time they lived in a different city than me. So
Mm.
he showed me like get this Amazon mic. It was like a USB plug-in Amazon mic for like $50. I was using Audacity too, which is a free software.
Yeah. Good old
Yeah.
Audacity. I remember that.
So like I was doing all that stuff and I was like, maybe like I had a good time recording, so like I'll try it myself. And I did it a couple times, and I was like, like I shouldn't even bought this mic. Like I sound terrible. And I didn't do it. I did like a couple songs. I was just like, this is complete garbage, bro. And I
So
recorded.
there's an interesting kind of space to be in there. I want to touch on that because what kind of makes or breaks an artist or a person just trying to learn how to make music is they get to this point kind of where there's a learning curve and that learning curve is intimidating. Oh, can I learn how to make beats? Am I going to be able to learn how to record myself at home? So what was that thought process for you? Like, did you have to have like a come to Jesus moment where you're like, all right, I have to learn how to do this shit?
Yeah, in a sense, but it was it I didn't never really look at it as like learning, as weird as that sounds after telling that story. It was like really like doing it. I just got to figure it out. It's not that I really need to like, I'm not forcing myself to learn it. It's like I know I enjoy this. I just need to get better at it. And so that's kind of what I did. I just kind of like goofed around. It really started with making beats. Like I just liked making beats. Like it just was fun. And like I would make beats and then like the people I was living with, like it was my cousin and like some of my brothers and stuff. I would just make a beat and then we'd play it and we'd be like, oh, this is fire. And then after that, it was kind of like I mean, I did learn, like I'm always learning, but like I never sat down and was like, I need to learn this. It was more so it was like it kind of just happened like naturally. Like I just kind of sat down, started making beats, and then I was just like, man, maybe I have something for this beat, like I'll just record it. Sounded garbage. And then I was like, well, I'll make another beat, started recording that. It got better and better. And then even to this day, it's still like it's kind of the same process.
When you started making music and whether it was when you were younger jamming out with your pops or your brother, like did you sing at all back then and did that influence like you wanting to sing or when you got in front of the mic you just started singing?
So I was always like a no, to answer your question, no, I did not want to sing.
Hmm.
I actually like refused to sing. I like it was just because my dad and older brother are very similar. Like they both love to like they're just entertainers, which like I love to entertain people, but like they're just on a whole nother level. Like they can grab a guitar and just like start playing and it's like everyone just gravitates towards them.
Mm.
And I was always like I just loved being like just playing the drums or like Like I did not want to sing. Like growing up, we would have campfires and stuff. Like I have a huge family. And so we would do campfires and like my brother would sing, like pass the guitar around and sing. My dad would do it, my uncles would do it. And I was always like, it was just very like I just didn't want to do it. And I still don't do it too much. They all listen to like a different genre of music, so they're not like Griffin sing, sing, sing. But it's not like something I ever really like doing. It's just at least like around like my family. Like it was just always very like they're so good. Like why would I sing? Like you guys are good enough. Like you guys are killing it right now.
Right, right. I didn't even think of that, of being around all practically musicians
It
and singers and stuff like that.
was
It's
like
interesting to hear.
it was a thought that I had like when I first started making music because I was like, dude, if I actually started putting this out, they're gonna expect me to like sing. And I was like, I don't want to do that.
So do they tune into your music now? Are you
Oh
open to
yeah.
sharing that with them?
Yeah. I'm not yeah, it's not like a scared to share thing. It was more so like when you first start putting music out is like especially like everyone kind of doesn't know you as a musician. Everyone knew you liked music or whatever, but it's not I wouldn't say like it's you're embarrassed to put it out, but it's just like very nerve-wracking because like especially for me, everyone's like, why are you putting music out? Like you should be playing football or something. Like that kind of weird stuff.
Talking football a little bit because I was a football player myself, not Division 1 by any means, but where did you go to college? Like, where did you play ball, and what did football do for you in your younger age that kind of helped you through life?
Well, I actually didn't play football until seventh grade. My mom didn't let me play till seventh grade, which I hated at the time. But I look back at it now, and I am glad that she did that. I'll probably do the same if I ever have kids.
Right, right,
But football was I played at Lamar University in Beaumont, which is where I have a lot of family. And I played out there, but sports in general is just it teaches you a lot. It teaches you about like not giving up and like just it teaches you just about working with other people. Just yeah, just not getting like if you get knocked down like in football, if you get the shit hit out of you, like you can't just lay there and die. You
gotta
gotta
get
get back
up,
up.
right,
Which
and
is
finish
kind of
the
like
play too.
yeah, it's very cliche, but like even when making music, it's like you the first song you make may sound like absolute garbage, but like you just sit there and lie there and die, like you're never gonna get better. Like if you
Right.
just it just teaches you a lot.
Yeah, you learn a lot about a person. Like when I go play basketball a lot. Tried to once or twice a week, right? You learn a lot about a person on a basketball court and whether or not they can hoop or not, but just like also like they call fouls, like you
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah, I'm not a foul guy. You can foul the shit out of me, but I got too much pride to call a foul. I'd rather just make the shot while you foul me.
right and scream and one and mama raised
Yeah.
no bitch like
People are
that.
like, oh, and one doesn't count. I'm like, I don't need it to count. Like, I wanted to show you that I can make this even if you
So
foul
like,
me.
why the hell you mad at me? I'm only trying to help. Y'all just focus on the money and hoes. I'm wanting wealth, and I'm stacking every year, just doing
You
better.
had some line about like sometimes I press shirts for the streets or something like that.
Yeah, I make sure.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, you make shirts. So talk about fashion and maybe making merch. Did you make that shirt you have on? I want to.
It is. Yeah, I
You
made
did, you did. So is there anywhere where like people could buy them? Like talk about you being the fashion guy too.
so I have it's in the works right now. It's between working an actual job and then doing music because music is like the number one thing that I love to do outside of work. But fashion is like a close second. Like I love coming up with like cool color schemes and stuff like that. Like I see stuff and I'll see like a flower bed with like this happened the other day. it was like I was going through something on TikTok or something like that, and I saw like red and pink flowers together, and I was just like, this is the coolest color. Like I've never, I gotta make a shirt with this. And I literally just ran to the store, grabbed the red shirt, like pink lettering, and just threw it on the shirt. But to answer your question, I haven't put anything out yet. It's like I need to, like I definitely need to, but I just do it for fun. Like I just kind of did it for fun. And I always had like, I always thought of like clothing brand ideas just like out of boredom. And I came up with this one called Mint Factory, and I was just like, dude, I love this name. And I just always like told my mom about it. I'm like, dude, like this is sick, huh? And she's like, yeah, you should do it. And like years it went by, and she bought me a heat press for my birthday like a year ago.
Okay.
And so I just started making these shirts, and I have a whole bunch of stuff in my closet. Like my closet I'm looking at right now is just full of random streetwear shit, but I don't wear it anymore. I just wear my stuff because like
I
it's
love that.
like I don't know why I wouldn't, like it's all stuff that I've made that I love, and I just literally create whatever I want to create. And so like if we ever go to town, like go out or something, I'll just wear like completely my own shit. Even when I went to New York, like I ever since I got this heat press, like I if I ever go on a trip, I get like instead of packing, I'll just go like completely customize a whole outfit. Like a not even just an outfit, like outfits, like a whole wardrobe to go somewhere. Like for New
Outfits.
York,
I like that. I like that a lot.
it was cold when I went. And it doesn't really get too cold out here. Like it does for a little bit, but it's not cold enough to where like I would have to make something like pants or something. So I
Right.
went and bought like sweats. I went and bought like puffer vests, like all types of stuff. And I just customized that. And that's literally what I wore in New York.
Oh, that's fresh.
And
And
all
that's
this
like
stuff, the cool thing about New York is you walk around and everyone else is wearing cool shit too.
that they probably made too, whether they're in fashion or one of their
People are
friends
walking
made it.
up. Yeah, and everyone that's what I loved about New York is everyone is very fashionable and they realize that.
Mm.
Like in Texas, it's like you get some people that can dress, but it's like they're kind of just doing it just to do it. Like in New York, people really give a fuck about fashion. So like
Yeah,
people would come up to me and be like, I love what you're wearing. And I'm like, thank you. I love what you're wearing. Like that never happens in Texas.
dude, that probably makes you feel so good as not just like a music artist, but like just like as an artist, like a creative
I
who
just
makes
create.
their own clothes.
I just love to create stuff.
Dude, same. Like honest to God, 100%. It's hard to put it into words how much a person loves to create when they love to create, but
Dude, it's like a
seeing
euphoric feeling.
it's a euphoric feeling that's like addictive in a sense. Creating something, bringing it to life, spreading it and sharing it with the masses, like there's no greater feeling than that. And I could resonate with the whole fashion thing too as well. One of my goals is to make loud music only merchandise
That'd
at
be
some point. And when
sick.
I was in college, I used to work for the Stony Brook concerts, bringing artists for the school shows and stuff. And we used to be in charge of making like the merch, and it was called Brookfest. So we would make these shirts and team up with a designer, and that's kind of where I got into a little bit of graphic design. I'm no professional at graphic design or anything, but kind of having an eye for, color schemes and stuff like that. So when you're pressing tees and maybe making designs, are you a graphic designer yourself?
Um, I would say no compared to who I know. Like I know some people who can really like whip some shit up.
Yeah, that's nuts.
I'm very like I have the base model of design spaces and I can make like the basic like if I think of something, I can sit down at the computer and like lettering and stuff is super easy to me. I just find fonts and stuff and like but actually designing stuff is like I'm not the best at it. But it's super frustrating because I come up with ideas. But luckily I have people who I can like be like, yo, I have this idea. I'll draw you a shitty version of it and I need you to like bring it to life. Dude, bringing something to life is the fucking coolest thing ever. Like thinking of something. I wish I had a video of like the first time that I had made like a Mint Factory shirt. We made it and then we were just like jumping around. We are like, this is the craziest shit. Like, this is insane. But it was I literally was like telling him, I'm like, dude, I'm like almost in tears right now. Like, I've been thinking of this shirt, like picturing it in my head for like years. And I finally made it. And I was like, dude, this is addicting. I don't have a kid, but like it's almost like having 1,000 kids. Like you get that same feeling of like you make something. Like a kid is something you make. So it's like I couldn't imagine what having a kid is like. I'll knock on wood, but
You're
like
like, oh shit, I made this kid. Like,
yeah, it's like let's make 1,000 more.
You ain't never about to catch me slipping. Mike Jones, baby, ooh wee, I'm tipping. Lean about foes, but baby, no sipping.
are there any like Texas artists that you grew up on, Houston artists that you grew up on that really influence, or maybe you just love to listen to them to clear your mind?
I was yeah, you just growing up in like Houston, you always listen to like a not that you listen to it, but you hear it. Like you
Mhm.
always hear UGK, Slim Thug, Paul Wall. I do. There's so many of them. Bun B. Like there's so many like things in Houston that you listen to. Houston is the music describes Houston very well because it's like a melting pot. Like you can
Mhm.
get so many different types of music out of Houston. Like you can get the real like street stuff. You can get like fucking Lizzo's from Houston, Meg Thee Stallion, Travis Scott,
Beyonce, right?
Beyonce. That's
Yeah,
like you
it's
get so
nuts.
much different stuff. My favorite Texas artist, I mean, besides the cop out of like Travis Scott,
Right.
I would do I would say Sauce Walker. I don't know if
Yo,
dude,
bro.
I love Sauce, bro.
I
The
would clap
Sauce
for that one
he grew up
because
on
Sauce Walka is fresh as hell, bro. Like his
dude,
flows
and
are nuts.
he's another person who like literally he just does whatever he wants to do. And
Dude,
the way he fits in pockets is crazy as well. The
dude,
first
his
that was
music
I
is
was just
nuts.
dude, I was just showing someone that the first song that I made on the album, the GRiFF freestyle, Big GRiFF freestyle, I originally recorded that on a Sauce Walker beat. Like,
Oh, was that the beat where he was freestyling with the microphone down?
yeah, I think that is the craziest video ever. Probably 10,000 times I watched that video
Bro,
with
the cars bumping on the back.
bro. And that's in Austin, I think. That's in Austin for South by Southwest.
Is that was that ghetto gospel that song, or was that just a freestyle that he
Oh,
did?
it was the song is produced by I can't think he produces for Griselda a lot.
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
Derringer. But
Okay.
videos, it's called Dangerous Derringer. And dude, Derringer, I love that's a whole nother topic, but like Derringer and the Alchemist and all them, I love that stuff. But Dangerous Derringer is the song, and Derringer produced that song. And I was like, dude, I love this beat. And
And so that's the beat that
I
inspired.
have that file. I for sure have that file of me rapping Big Grit freestyle over that beat.
I gotta
And I
hear
was
that,
like,
man.
I was saying like it just brought like the wordplay that like you can do on that song and like from seeing what Sauce Walker did on it, it just like made me rap a whole different way. And so I recorded on that and I was just like, dude, this is like too fire to not put out. And I really love like that. I wanted it to be like an intro of just like straight rapping, like no crazy song, like no crazy production, just like a sample and just rapping over the sample. And I was like, I don't want to like take Derringer's beat. Like I want to make something of my own. And so I just like one day I came upon a sample and I just threw it on top of it. And I was like, yo, this is it.
Saw Zach and Cody last night, smoking by the street light. Where would Jordan be if he kept on rocking three stripes? it probably wouldn't be nice.
What are some of your goals? Maybe not for 2023, but I don't know, 5 years down the line with your music or 2 years down the line? Like, what are some bucket list goals as far as performing, making music, fashion? Like, do you have anything you'd like to manifest on here?
Definitely nothing too crazy. I'm not really too worried about like I know a lot of people are like, oh, numbers, like I'm looking at I hope that it blows and stuff like that. I think that it'd be cool if the numbers came, but like for me, it's more definitely shows. I want to do start doing shows. Um Fashion wise, definitely find the time to actually get stuff into production. Um Other than that, man, I would say my only like real thing that I'm gonna like keep throughout all the years is just do what I want to do. Like just figure out what I nerd out about and just do that. Music wise, I would say definitely pushing the music more. I get very I always my favorite song is always like the last one I made.
Mm,
So like I get very stuck on it's almost like putting it out, like putting out the music is like for everyone else. Like making the music is where I get it. And then to put it out is kind of just to be like, oh yeah, like this is for y'all now. So like for me, it's usually like the next song I make is usually the one that I'm like, this is my favorite song right now. Like this is what I'm listening to. And so I kind of got to get out of that in a sense and start like pushing the music that everyone can listen to instead of just me.
so separating yourself from the music in a sense and kind of that's a very difficult thing to do, man, because like
Especially like as a like with you don't like I don't have like a label or nothing helping me out. Like that's really where I think a label would come in handy, like if it ever did come about, is the fact that I could just make the music and then they kind of could just do the business side of it.
right, right. And it's good to learn the business side of it, but a lot of times the business side of it ruins the fun and the passion of making the music. And
Especially I went to school for business for a little bit. I dropped out because I fucking hated it.
I don't
But
blame you, dude. I don't blame you.
I went to school for business and it's just like you just see the ins and outs of business and how like screwed up everything is. Like you just learn that like those people, if you got billions of dollars, you probably did some screwed up stuff. Like you don't just get a
A
billion.
billion dollars. You got to step on some necks, bro.
Yeah, like you got to be an asshole, and that's why I think music in general is just pretty cool. Is like you don't got to be an asshole. Like some people got to be like if you were an asshole, it might get you bigger, better, like more talk on your name. But like you see people like Kendrick and stuff. Like Kendrick's no asshole. Like Frank Ocean, you barely even see him,
Right.
but somehow their music is still going. And then you see some people who are just like do like these crazy things on social media to like try and get viral. And it's almost like a cry for help.
Mm. Damn, you're dropping knowledge right here. I couldn't agree. I couldn't agree more. No, for real. Like, and that's a very difficult thing to observe when you're also an artist and you're like, okay, is this what I have to do? Like to get big or whatever, you know what I mean? But like I like how you talk about maybe not worrying about the numbers, because you're not playing that game, dude. You know what I mean? You're not
Like
competing with the Kendricks and the major
no,
labels.
not even close. I'm barely even I don't even really make money. I make like nothing off of music. So like I really am genuinely just doing it because I love to do it. And I would love for music to like make me money, not so much for the sole fact that like I can go buy something cool now. It's more so for the fact that like the money is here. So it's like now I can just actually just do this full time and I don't have to worry about working from 3 to 12 to at least pay the bills. Like if I could get music to pay the bills, that's the coolest thing ever.
Yeah, bro, that's something that everybody dreams of, and I think you have like you're a really solid mindset when it comes to creating and releasing your music. And there's always things that we could get better at over time. And I think that you sound like you're self-aware enough to realize that like you know what you want and you know how you want to do this thing. So that's very like interesting to hear. And I'm glad you mentioned all that, man.
Yeah, man, I'm glad we could fucking do this.
Yeah, dude, chopping up. It's been a long time overdue, and I'm glad we got to
It's very long overdue.
touch on a lot of these topics that I wanted to speak about with you and getting to know each other, man. And hopefully, maybe if you're ever back in New York, let me know. We'll link up. If I'm ever down south, I'd love to
Yeah.
see it. It's amazing to see how social media and our love for music can connect us through a fucking screen, which is blows my mind that you can make a friend doing this shit. So, I appreciate your time today and coming on here on Loud Music Only, man.
I appreciate you for even listening.
Oh, dude, no problem. It's my pleasure, man. You make dope music, and just by talking to you, you have a future in this shit, man. So keep manifesting this shit, and good things will come because I can tell how passionate you are about the music you make and just the message and the vibes you want to bring, man. I love it.
Yeah, man, I can tell you're passionate about this too.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. It's
That's what I'm saying. It's cool to like see, like you. That's what I'm saying. You can see the bullshit in people, and you're not bullshitting.
people smell bullshit from a mile away, and
I'm
it's
not a bull. Like
you're
I
not
hate
not
the bullshit. So like, I can always tell. I can always tell.
this shit right here. This shit is what I love. Like this, just talking to artists, making music content, and putting people on to music and making them listen to music a little bit closer than how they normally would. So for you to say that I'm no bullshitter means a lot, means the world to me for real.
Yeah, for sure, man.
You're watching Loud Music Only. I'm your host, A.T Bianco, and this has been our interview with GRiFF. GRiFF, thanks so much for joining me today. It's been a pleasure.
Of course, man.